Welcome to Piano Inspires podcast, celebrating pianists, teachers, and innovators as they share their inspiring stories about the transformative power of music.
Attention all keyboard pedagogy enthusiasts and educators. Do you want to share your insights and expertise with a passionate community? The National Conference for Keyboard Pedagogy is now accepting presentation proposals for our upcoming event. Whether you have an innovative teaching idea, a research project, or a performance technique you're eager to showcase, we want to hear from you. Your presentation could inspire fellow educators and make a lasting impact on the next generation of musicians. For more information and to submit your proposal, visit nckp2025.com. The deadline to submit proposals is Monday, October 21st, 2024. Don't miss this chance to be a part of something extraordinary. Together, let's elevate piano and keyboard pedagogy to new heights.
Hello, I'm Craig Sale, Senior Editor for Piano Magazine and Director of Online Courses for the Francis Clark Center. And it gives me great pleasure today to get to have a talk with Dr. Annie Jeng. She is a Taiwanese-American pianist who has performed widely as a solo and chamber musician in Italy, Spain, New York City, China, and at numerous academic institutions all over. She's an advocate for pushing the boundaries of traditional performances and has performed and curated concerts at breweries, parking deck rooftops, intimate living room settings, and other unconventional spaces, all with the aim of making the arts more accessible and interdisciplinary. She has commissioned and premiered dozens of new works. Her latest commissioning project, Circles and Lines, consists of new pedagogical works by women composers that introduces contemporary piano techniques to intermediate students. She is a co-founder of A Seat at the Piano, dedicated to the promotion of inclusion in the performance and study of solo piano repertoire. And I had the great pleasure of getting to work with Annie and her colleagues at A Seat at the Piano for the Francis Clark Center as they co-created an online course on women composers. She's currently Assistant Professor of Piano and Piano Pedagogy at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. So welcome, Annie.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, it's wonderful to be here.
We like to have these conversations to get to know more about the people in our field. Yeah. And we always find out very interesting things that are usually, actually always, very inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for sharing your story today.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, there's so many wonderful people in our community, and it's just great to be able to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. I like to start at the beginning.
Yeah, sure.
At childhood.
Yeah.
And at that place where music entered your life.
Yeah.
And when that happened and how it grew.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think I was very fortunate that I did grow up in a very musical household. My mom was a piano, still is a piano teacher. Was not a piano. She's a piano teacher. And my sister is also a pianist. My father, a music lover, a music appreciator. He's a civil engineer, though. And so I was really blessed, I think, when at a young age, even when I was an infant and when I was a toddler crawling on the floor, there was music constantly in my house, a revolving door of students that would come in and out to take lessons with my mom.
Sure.
And my sister would be practicing. And what I love so much is that my mom, who also is a choir director too, so I grew up singing in her choir. And the choir that she has, Glory Star Children's Choir, it started out just as a way of some of her Taiwanese friends to get together and sing with their kids. And now it has over 100-some singers.
Oh, wow.
And multiple different tiers of choirs. So I really couldn't escape it. And one of the things that I immediately think of too is that piano became like another one of my toys. I had my dolls and Legos and building blocks, and the piano was just like, ooh, there's this thing with buttons, so let me go play that and tinker around on it. Yeah. And so play, I think, is like always embodied and still with what I do. And so, yeah, I started taking lessons with my mom. And as I think as many people quickly find out that that doesn't quite work very well.
Yeah. How old were you at that time?
I think I was around 4,
4. Okay.
when I started taking lessons with my mom, and ended up later, taking with some other wonderful, wonderful piano teachers in the area. But I still always would go to my mom for advice, and my sister as well.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, music was important both in the home and also, it sounds like, with your mother's choir in the community as well that you grew up. So it was very valued all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm very thankful that I sang so much, and the importance of singing and how it's shaped the way that I phrase music and the way I think about music. I also played viola too growing up.
Okay.
So I had that also as a different perspective of playing in an ensemble, playing in an orchestra.
Wow.
Different, yeah.
Very, very comprehensive. So who were your main influences as you were growing up? In anything really, but of course, particularly in your path towards where you are today. But who were the most influential people for you?
I would say my teacher, I think was one of the most influential people. I had 2 really wonderful teachers growing up. One by the name of Christopher Hall, and I still remember I had my lessons where you'd have to. He made all of his students record his lessons, and at the time, it being on like a little tape recorder too, right? Yeah. And then my mom would always play my lesson recordings in the car on the way home after my lessons. So immediate feedback and response, But the mentorship and like how much he cherished beautiful technique and beautiful sound, those things I really carried with me. And then I studied with this wonderful teacher, Faye Bonner, who she's now in her 90s, still teaching.
Wow.
And she really, it's the amount of care I think that she went into her teaching and building community, having her students come over and playing for each other, basically having studio classes at a young age. I think all my teachers, my peers, my family, my friends, they were always my cheerleaders, and they were also really great ways to kind of gauge my meter of how well am I doing in something, how much joy or happiness is it bringing me. There were so many influences. I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint exactly one person. Like my family was also, I think, just a really influential part, especially with my sister of also being a musician, also being a pianist. And not so much that like when people ask, oh, did you guys fight over the piano or anything? I said, no, actually my fondest memories actually from being a child where we would sight read a lot. We'd sight read duets, and we would sight read more challenging pieces that we couldn't play, where I would play the left hand, she'd play the right hand. So we were able to play, Beethoven sonatas just with the 2 of us. And really, though, I think what I'm very thankful for it and why it was so influential is just that I never felt a lot of pressure. A lot of it was just cultivated in a space of creativity and joy. I never felt like I was forced to necessarily do any of it. And like I was drawn to it. I think once I had told my family though that I wanted to really pursue music, that's when they're like, oh, okay, we're going down that path. But I think the exploration of music and art was a really joyful one. And so I'm very thankful for that.
How old were you when you made that announcement?
Yeah, right. I was a junior in high school.
Okay. So it was still you were old enough where you should be thinking about what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. But I did pre-med in college as well. I did pre-med. I also did a minor in public health. I was 1 class away from finishing pre-med and decided ultimately that I was going to focus on music. But
So were you doing both at the same time to see which
was.
one you wanted to do, kind of? Or
Yeah. And it was, so I went to school at New York University. And what an exciting place to be a student in Manhattan and having access to incredible concerts. but yeah, I really loved science and I loved academics. I was always kind of a bit of a high school nerd, and I still am a nerd. And I embrace it. I think it's a wonderful thing. We should all be nerds. But I was doing both. And I loved both, but it was really hard to feel like I was excelling in both of them. And I knew that I wanted to be devoting a bit more of my time to practicing and crafting my art of piano. It was a very difficult decision to make. And I still think about it to this day, like how my life would be if I chose the path of medicine instead of going into music. I might be getting ahead of myself, but I often think also of like my identity as a musician is so much more than just a musician. And I love what I do right now. I love being a teacher. I love being a performer. But, you know, at the end of the day, if I broke my arm and, you know, had a serious injury, I think I would be okay with another career path, whatever that might be. And the flexibility, I think also a lot of this coming from my childhood of just, you know, go explore, go do the thing that you want to do. It didn't make me feel like I was confined in a certain path.
Right. You weren't put into this funnel.
Yeah, right.
This is what you're going to do, and so nothing else happens.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I was just wondering, your pre-med was focusing on public health, or that was another degree in
that was another degree.
Okay.
It was so when I decided that I wasn't going to finish my pre-med courses, even though I was so close, I decided to pursue a minor in public health.
I see. And I just think that's interesting. I might be projecting something there, but public health suggests community and a focus and interest on doing something for the public good.
Yeah.
And I think in your work in music, you include that as well.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked the field of public health is because it's helping populations.
Right.
You're not focusing solely on an individual, but a larger story, a larger impact. And I think that music and the arts similarly have that power. Yeah.
And you know, as I said in your bio, you set up these performances in unusual places, which clearly is, I'm assuming, is a way to bring the music to the people.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the many ways in which I think you focus on the importance of music in society. And
I think I've come to terms a lot and acknowledged the privilege that so much of us have to study music. Piano is expensive. The instrument itself is expensive. Like I look in my office, I have these 2 beautiful Steinway grands, and like it's absurd, you know, about the amount of money it costs to get to the level of where we want to be. And so, especially within a lot of institutions where we have this expectation that people are going to come to us, that they are going to come through our doors and come to our recital venues and listen to us play, is really not practical. And so my idea with a lot of the community work that I try to do is just to make it easier for people to experience classical music and the arts in their spaces of comfort. And so that could be a brewery, that could be, you know, a park, that could be a parking deck, you know. A lot of these ideas, they came out of the pandemic too, because with smaller parameters of what you can do, you have to be creative.
And what was the response from the people that were there, that, you know, you opened it up, went to their place and performed? Was there, you know, tell me about the response from the people.
I would say the response was really positive. I mean, imagine you get together with your friends, you think you're going to go to a brewery and have a beer, and all of a sudden there's a grand piano on the stage outside and they're playing, you know, classical piano works. There was a lot of confusion.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think that was also like maybe one of the majority kind of feelings of the audience members,
Mhm.
but then excitement, just that it was happening.
Mhm.
And I know like a lot of members of our community are doing this, and it's so wonderful to
Yeah.
see whether or not that's bringing music. I think also a lot of times we think that it has to be in like an acoustic grand piano, but that's the practicality of that is also really, really challenging.
Right.
So if we've got a keyboard,
Yeah.
work with it. That's what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
Got a melodica, work with that. It's like, yeah.
Exactly. Now we're gonna move on from your, pre-college days in a moment,
Sure.
but it sounds really like a very positive, wonderful
Yeah.
experience, but I am curious to know, were there any obstacles along the way, or, difficulties that you encountered in that journey?
Oh, definitely. I think, yeah, the journey as a musician is never a straight one. It's always winding and it's constantly changing. I think for a long time, as a small, petite Asian woman, I spent a lot of my life with this mindset of, I'm going to prove people wrong.
Oh.
And because I think a lot of people, whether or not that was intrinsically felt within myself, or if it was actually felt from peers and colleagues and professors, but just that there was doubt in kind of what I was able to do, and so I for the longest time I think I was driven by this idea of like, I'm going to prove people wrong. Oh, you think I can't do this? Oh, I'll show you. And so it wasn't until about grad school that I had this realization of, if I'm doing this so much to prove people wrong, how much of this is actually for myself, and why am I doing it?
Right.
And ultimately the big question of it then being like, why am I doing this? And it's very easy to feel like I'm on this constant hamster wheel of degrees, of classes, of pieces that you learn. What's the ultimate goal? And I think that led to a lot of also imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Of just, right? It's like, like, I don't know if I'm good enough, or like, okay, great, I got this job, but I'm not sure if they really wanted me. And so having to overcome that, so much of it, I think, was finding the why, finding the meaning of why I wanted to be doing this. There's so many amazing pianists, as we know, who are out there. What am I contributing? And that's when a lot of my work, I think, with community partners started to happen, expanding the canon of piano repertoire, collaborating with composers, and being a part of the process of music making, rather than just being the note reader and the deliverer of music. I don't really think there is a goal anymore. And that was a huge breaking point for me, something that I really don't think I've realized until this past year or two.
Wow.
Is that I'm trying not to necessarily look for the next step up, because I don't know what that's going to be.
Right.
And I think it's partially also because when I was young, my dad being a civil engineer, even at the young age of maybe around 10, he would be asking me, Annie, what's your 5-year plan?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I don't know. So planning was always part of my identity, and part of me. And so now I've come to terms with, okay, yes, we need a plan, but it's okay if that plan changes.
Right.
And especially when I'm not so driven towards whatever that goal is, but more of the journey and the process along it.
And you know yourself well enough to know that you're called to do things.
Yeah.
And you're
right.
And it sounds like you're at this point where you're ready to live and be there and exist and let it happen more naturally, rather than by design.
By design, yeah. And I think, like, I get really excited about things, and I'm very much of a dreamer about a lot of things. And so that can get me into trouble because then I do too much.
Right.
Yeah. And so like, I think being able to remind myself and ask myself, how much can I fit in here in order to still do a good job?
Yeah. That's always one of
Yep.
the challenges that we have,
Mm-hmm.
not just in this profession, but we seem to have it a lot.
Yeah.
So who has inspired you in your life and in your work? Are there any particular people, either people you knew or even people you just didn't but knew of? Who were your inspirations?
That's a really hard one. 'Cause again, kind of like who influenced me, like it's hard to pinpoint it to a certain person. My students really inspire me. And I started teaching even when I was an undergrad student. So I've been teaching for a long time, and now as a college professor, I have such interesting students who are coming from all sorts of different backgrounds. And they bring their stories, they bring their challenges, they bring their joys, and the things that I'm learning from them are really curating, I think, like my identity as a musician and as a teacher. And so, like one of the things that I'm going to be doing this summer, I'm going to be taking jazz piano lessons.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm having more and more students who want to study jazz. They're, classical piano majors, but they like to study more jazz. And I was like, well, I really feel inadequate in terms of my skills as a jazz musician.
Sure.
So I'm seeing this demand, and then I have to find the ways to gain those skills so that I can teach it to my students. But I don't know. I feel like the generation of students that we're teaching right now, they have such resilience. They've gone through so much, especially with the pandemic, and they're coming in, I think, even more deeply thinking about why they're doing the thing that they're doing. And, every moment and everything of time is so precious. So, we see enrollments and recruitment to be a challenge right now. And I think it's partially just because I think students are really thinking, like, is this what I want to be doing?
Well, and those are good questions to ask.
Yeah.
It's not the way we have worked for many, many years, though. I mean, I think there have been generations of people who just do it. Because that's what you're supposed to do. So it can cause a problem for some teachers in terms of relating to them. But it's wonderful that you're seeing that and relating to that and listening to that in them. And I also don't think you'd be doing the jazz playing if you weren't also interested yourself.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it. I took some jazz lessons when I was in college, but I never really, I think, fully let myself go into it because I was just scared. I was intimidated by it.
Sure.
But no, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I think I'm expecting to hear some new things out of you after that experience. Because it's always interesting when we actually stop and try to learn something ourselves. That's different. And it's still the piano, but it's still going to be a very different kind of experience for you. And I think it's good when teachers do that because we learn more about learning. When we put ourselves back in that student position to do that. So we've talked a little bit about how, the importance of bringing music to the people, but this is the chance where I think, can talk about a seat at the piano and your other endeavors in terms of your work and how your work hopefully is changing the world.
Yeah, the world seems like such a big place of impact. And I'd like to think that all of us have the ability to have impact and change
Mhm.
within, whatever small or big community. And I'm really proud of the work that A Seat at the Piano has done. We started in 2020. It was just me.
Oh, wow.
And it was during the summer of the pandemic of 2020 where I had
Mhm.
a lot of time to think and to reflect
Mhm.
and to react to the lot
Mhm.
of the unrest that was happening
Right.
around the world, a lot of the reckoning that we had with the social and racial injustices that we have. And so, kind of serving and thinking about my own experiences of diverse works. How many
Mhm.
have I played? How many works of women composers or Black composers, Indigenous composers? And it was very sad to
Oh,
think
yeah.
about that I could put them all on one finger, on one hand.
Yes.
And so I started my own little spreadsheet
Ah,
of
okay.
pieces. And because, again, I had so much time, I would just spend hours adding works to this spreadsheet, Googling composers,
Mhm.
finding their works, leveling them.
Yeah.
And when I got to, a pretty healthy amount of pieces, I decided to share it
Mhm.
on social media. Just, hey, this is the thing that I'm working on.
Uh-huh.
I've been seeing some posts of people asking, like, oh, where can I find a database of works
Right.
by composers from historically underrepresented backgrounds?
Mhm.
And I knew that there were some other things, but there wasn't
Mhm.
anything piano specific.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so when I did that, there was a lot of interest.
Mhm.
And so I was, okay, great, let's keep on
Mhm.
doing this. I realized I couldn't keep on doing it by myself. So I recruited
Right.
my friends.
Uh-huh.
This is where like the people you go to school with and the people that you pick up either at conferences or
Mhm.
wherever it is,
Mhm.
like, they always come in need
Mhm.
and are always there for you. And so, yeah, I called upon Susan Yang and Claire Long and Dyke, Brendan Jacqueline, Evan Hines, Ashley Young, and we started really working on this. Like,
Mhm.
what can we do with
Yeah.
this and keep on expanding? And how can we do this in a really mindful way
Mhm.
too? Because I think a lot of this work, especially with databases,
Mm.
it's information, right?
Right.
It's data points, which we have to remind ourselves that these are humans, these are people.
True.
And so, like even just within like our search engine, we don't have check marks and tick boxes where your drop down menus of,
Mhm.
selecting identifiers because we thought that that was a strange way of categorizing people.
True. Yeah.
And so the search parameters are the user gets to create them. They type in the search terms
Uh-huh.
rather than us
Yes.
providing
Okay.
them.
So it's searchable
Yeah.
by various
By
categories,
yeah.
but you didn't want to present it as these are categories of people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And when I started this project too, it was difficult because I was born in America.
Mhm.
I'm Asian American, but um I didn't know if I was the right person to be doing this work, which sounds
Really?
weird.
Yeah.
I
Tell me
know.
about that.
Yeah. Within the music and piano community, like I don't think I'm necessarily a minority.
I see.
There's a lot of students and pianists who are
Mhm.
Asian.
True.
And I knew that I wanted to lift up the voices of a lot of my BIPOC peers and friends.
Yeah.
And as someone who, I guess, I just wanted to make sure that I was doing it thoughtfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that that I wasn't mishandling, I think, a lot of this information and presenting it in a way that was respectful.
Right.
I remember actually, like, I called up Leah Claiborne
Uh-huh.
when I started doing all this,
Right.
and I was like, I'm working on this project. Do you think this is okay? Like,
Yeah.
am I an okay
Right.
person to be doing this? She's like, well, yeah, I think like this is important work. And I mean, I'm not going to like try and quote her there because this was many, many years ago,
Right.
but just to have that comfort of, this work needs to be done.
Yes.
And this work needs to be shared. And I think that as long as I think the fact that I was even thinking about that, hopefully that by itself was showing that, yeah, I really do care about this and I want it to be done in the right way.
Yeah. And with this subject, and when you're dealing with issues of diversity and trying to bring people in who haven't been invited in,
Yeah.
It's important to recognize them, give them their own space and place. And it sounds like you were afraid of perhaps intruding on that a bit.
Yeah.
And all I can say is, all one can do is, first of all, embrace the cause, because it's not, that's pure and good, but then seek help and advice. And you did that, or you reached out to Leah, and then you have these other people that joined you.
Yeah.
So, and that, I think, takes some of the pressure off.
Yes.
When you have other voices around you.
Yeah.
So that, it's an interesting situation to be in when you're trying to do good, but you also don't want to be offensive.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I think, what you just said is totally right. And it felt really good to not have to have all that pressure once I started to ask for advice and to ask for help and to build our team.
Yeah.
That and expanding the team was so wonderful, because then my team members also then brought in their perspectives and their thoughts and their expertise. And so it just within like personalities, we were able to, I think, complement each other really well.
Yeah. And the end product is, well, it's not an end, it's a continuing.
Oh,
product.
yeah, it's forever going. I know I had someone today ask me, well, what about forehand and duo music? And I said, hopefully one day.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
When you're uncovering a whole new world, it's a whole new world.
It really is a whole new world.
It's not just a little piece. So there's a lot to do there. But, I think that result where you are now is just a tremendous asset for us. And it's a big step forward in our profession. And it's a wonderful resource. So.
Thank you. And it's really inspiring to see that this is lasting change.
Yeah.
I think like we've gone over the fact that this is not a phase. This is here to stay. And it's only going to get bigger and more impactful from here.
Yeah. People are truly interested.
Yeah.
And more people are truly interested.
Yes.
So it's something that, and to have that resource there for them.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Right. Yeah.
More generally about music,
I
would like to take a moment just to think about music and our world.
Yeah.
And what impact do you think music is having on our world now?
Yeah.
Or what could it have?
Yeah. Big philosophical questions,
you
right?
save the good ones.
Yes. I mean, I think that music is a means and a tool of communication ultimately. And it allows us to share stories, for us to feel more like a shared collective humanity. And more importantly, I think that music is able to help us deeply listen. I think we're living in a time where listening is not exactly always at the top of people's priorities.
Right.
And so what I hope is that music is able to bring people together so that we can listen to other opinions, other views, hear the stories of people, of composers, of pieces, of the whatever stories they have that are within them. And I also think, as much as music is able to impact society and the world, we are also impacting music too, in the way that what we want to hear.
Yes.
And I think so much also just like all of us are tied to our screens.
Yes.
We, are scrolling through social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it might be. And even just like a 20-second clip of something isn't enough for us to hold our attention. And so, like I think the way that we are changing music is also in the way that it's presented,
Yes.
the content of it, where I think we are thinking so much more about how music is reflected within our identities and culture. And I think composers are thinking about that. What can we do to make performances and listening experiences more engaging and interactive, whether or not that's multimedia or whether or not that's, interactive performances, dealing with dancers, interdisciplinary work. I think that, like it's a two-way conversation
Yes.
of how music is impacting us and we are also impacting the music.
Definitely. Wonderful. Well, we're to our final question.
Okay.
This is the one we ask everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about, how does piano inspire you?
So piano inspires me because it is constantly challenging me. And there's endless possibilities, I think, for what piano can bring us as a means and a tool of communication, of storytelling. And it's just exciting and inspiring to see what could come out of it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Annie,
Yes,
for
thank you.
having this conversation with us, and thank you for all you've done.
Oh, thank you.
And although we're not making plans about what you're doing
Yeah.
next, we are thankful for and looking forward to all the things that you'll be doing in the future.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
The Francis Clark Center is a not-for-profit educational organization that serves the advancement of piano teaching, learning, and performing. Divisions include Piano Magazine, Piano Inspires Kids, Journal for Piano Research, National Conference on Keyboard Pedagogy, the New School for Music Study, Piano Education Press, International Online Teacher Education, and Piano Inspires Online Community Hub. Please visit us at pianoinspires.com to learn more about our impactful work and inspiring community.